Commander Vesai stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the blue planet grow larger on the main screen. After traveling for months through hyperspace, his fleet had finally reached the small solar system at the edge of the galaxy. This place held no importance to the great Zephyrian Empire, except for one thing. 30,000 years ago, they had lost a ship here. The astral wanderer had been exploring new worlds when it crashed on the third planet from the sun. The crew had died in the crash, and the Zephyrians had been forced to leave the wreckage behind. A great war had started across the galaxy, and every ship was needed. They marked the planet as forbidden and promised to return when the war ended. The war had lasted 15,000 years. After that, the Empire had other problems to deal with. Pirates, rebellions, and new territories to explore. The small blue planet was forgotten by most people. Only the military records remembered that important Zephyrian technology was still there. "Sir, we are getting close to the planet," said his navigation officer. "Shall we begin scanning for the wreckage?" Vesai nodded. "Yes, but be careful. The planet was home to primitive creatures when we lost the ship. They were just learning to use fire and simple tools. We do not want to scare them." The Zephyrians prided themselves on being civilized. They did not hurt lesser species unless they had to. The creatures on this planet had been barely intelligent when the astral wanderer crashed. By now, they might have learned to use metal or build simple buildings. Maybe they had found the wreckage and were worshipping it as some kind of magic object. "Sir," the sensor officer's voice was filled with surprise. "I am reading massive structures in orbit around the planet." Vesai frowned. "Check your equipment. There should be nothing here except the planet and its moon." "Equipment is working perfectly, sir. I am seeing space stations, orbital platforms, and what looks like. Sir, there are hundreds of ships moving between the planets." The bridge fell silent. Vesai walked to the sensor station and looked at the readings himself. The display showed a busy solar system full of artificial structures. There were mining operations on asteroids, huge stations around several planets, and strange rings of objects around the star itself. "This is impossible," whispered the science officer. "Our records show this species had barely discovered agriculture 30,000 years ago." "Sir, we are being scanned," reported the weapons officer. "Multiple sources, very powerful. The technology is... I do not recognize it." Vesai felt a cold fear in his stomach. If another space-traveling species had found this system and discovered Zephyrian technology, it could be very dangerous for the Empire. Secret military equipment could have fallen into enemy hands. "Red alert," he ordered. "Raise shields and charge weapons. Send a message to the Empire. Tell them we may have found hostile aliens with advanced technology." Before the communications officer could send the message, every screen on the bridge lit up with an incoming transmission. The image that appeared showed a human woman in a clean military uniform. She had short gray hair and calm blue eyes. Behind her, Vesai could see a command center full of advanced technology. "Welcome to the Sol System," the woman said in perfect Zephyrian language. "I am Admiral Sarah Chun of the Terran Defense Fleet. We have been expecting you." The entire bridge crew stared in shock. The primitive creatures had learned to speak Zephyrian. More than that, they had somehow known the Zephyrians were coming. "I am Commander Vesai of the Zephyrian Imperial Navy," he replied carefully. "We are here on official business. We have come to recover property that belongs to the Zephyrian Empire." Admiral Chun smiled. "Ah, you must mean the Astral Wanderer. We wondered when you would return for it." "You know about our ship?" Vesai asked. "Of course. It has been one of our most important historical artifacts for almost 30,000 years. We have learned so much from it." Vesai tried to stay calm, but his mind was racing. These creatures had found the wreckage and somehow learned Zephyrian technology. That explained how they had advanced so quickly. They had stolen the secrets of faster-than-light travel and other advanced sciences. The ship and everything in it belongs to the Zephyrian Empire, he said firmly. We demand its immediate return. Admiral Chun looked thoughtful. I am afraid that would be quite difficult, Commander. You see, the ship has not been in one piece for over 25,000 years. What do you mean? We took it apart to study it, she explained. Every piece has been examined by our best scientists. We have learned how it worked and why it was built the way it was. The knowledge gained from your ship has helped us reach for the stars. Vexai felt anger rising in his chest. You had no right to damage our property. That ship contained military secrets. We meant no disrespect, Admiral Chun said calmly. In fact, we have honored the ship and its crew. They are remembered as heroes who gave humanity the greatest gift possible, knowledge. Where are the pieces now? Vexai demanded. Scattered across hundreds of research centers throughout human space, she replied. Each piece taught us something new. Your engine design helped us create better propulsion systems. Your computers showed us new ways to process information. Your hull materials led to advances in molecular engineering. Vexai stared at the screen in disbelief. These humans had not just found one crashed ship. They had built an entire space-traveling civilization based on Zephyrian technology. They had colonies throughout their solar system and possibly beyond. How many worlds do you control? He asked quietly. We prefer the term inhabit, Admiral Chun corrected. Humans live on 47 worlds in 12 different star systems. We also have research stations and mining operations in over 200 locations. The bridge crew exchanged worried glances. The Zephyrian Empire controlled thousands of worlds, but it had taken them 50,000 years to build their civilization. These humans had done almost as much in only 30,000 years. Commander, Admiral Chun continued, I suggest we meet in person to discuss this situation. I believe we have much to learn from each other. Vexai realized he was facing something his military training had never prepared him for. He had come here expecting to find primitive creatures hiding in caves. Instead, he had found a spacefaring civilization that might be almost as powerful as his own empire. Very well, he said finally. We will meet. 2 hours later, Commander Vexai found himself aboard a human space station orbiting Earth's moon. He had brought his top officers with him, all wearing full environmental suits and carrying weapons. The humans had politely asked them to leave their weapons on their shuttle, but Vexai refused. Admiral Chun met them at the airlock. She wore no protective gear and carried no visible weapons. Behind her stood several other humans in simple uniforms. They looked calm and confident, which made Vexai more nervous. Welcome aboard Luna Station, Admiral Chun said. I hope your journey from your ships was comfortable. It was adequate, Vexai replied stiffly. Now, let us discuss the return of our property. Of course. But first, would you like to see what we have learned from your ancestors' gift to us? She led them through corridors filled with strange technology. The walls seemed to glow with their own light, and the air felt clean and fresh. Everything looked advanced, but it was different from Zephyrian technology. It was cleaner, more organic. Somehow, they entered a large room filled with displays and holographic projections. In the center stood a tall human woman with dark skin and bright eyes. She wore a white coat covered with symbols that Vexai did not recognize. Commander, this is Dr. Elizabeth Reeves, Admiral Chun said. She is our leading expert on Zephyrian technology and the director of the Wanderer Project. Dr. Reeves smiled and bowed politely. It is an honor to meet representatives of the people who gave us the stars, Commander. I have studied your ship's technology for my entire life, as did my parents and their parents before them. You mean your people have been studying our ship for generations? Asked Vexai Science Officer. Oh yes, Dr. Reeves replied enthusiastically. The Wanderer was discovered 28,000 years ago by a human explorer in what we now call Antarctica. At first, our people thought it was some kind of natural formation. The ice had covered it completely. She gestured to a holographic display that showed the excavation process. HFY watched as primitive humans carefully dug the ship out of the ice using simple tools. They worked slowly and carefully, treating each piece like a precious treasure. It took our ancestors 3,000 years to fully excavate the ship, Dr. Reeves continued. They knew it was something special, even though they did not understand what they had found. They could tell it was made by intelligent beings. What happened to our crew? HFY asked quietly. Dr. Reeves' expression became solemn. They were found in the ship's command center. We believe they died instantly when the ship crashed. Our people gave them a proper burial with full honors. Their tomb is one of our most sacred sites. She showed them another hologram. It depicted a beautiful monument surrounded by gardens. The names of the Zephyrian crew members were carved into black stone in both human and Zephyrian writing. We consider them to be humanity's greatest teachers, Dr. Reeves explained. Without their sacrifice, we would still be living in caves. HFY felt conflicted. These humans had treated his people's remains with respect, but they had also stolen Zephyrian technology. You still had no right to take apart our ship. Actually, we did not take it apart immediately, Dr. Reeves said. For the first 5,000 years, we simply studied the outside. We measured every surface, analyzed every material we could reach, and tried to understand the basic principles of its construction. She brought up more displays showing human scientists working around the intact ship. They used primitive tools and simple instruments, but HFY could see the dedication in their efforts. Our first breakthrough came when we learned to create your hull material, Dr. Reeves continued. It took us 2,000 years to figure out the molecular structure. Once we understood that, we began to understand that your people were masters of engineering at the atomic level. You reverse-engineered our armor plating? HFY's weapons officer sounded impressed despite himself. Not exactly reverse-engineered, Dr. Reeves corrected. We studied it until we understood the principles behind it. Then we figured out how to make it ourselves. But we did not stop there. We asked ourselves, why did the Zephyrians build it this way? Could we build it differently? Could we make it better? She showed them samples of human-made materials. To HFY's amazement, they looked more advanced than anything the Zephyrian Empire had ever created. This is impossible, his science officer whispered. These materials should not be able to exist. The molecular bonds are too complex. That is what we thought too, Dr. Reeves laughed. But we kept asking, what if? What if we changed this bond? What if we arranged the molecules differently? What if we used different base elements? Admiral Chun stepped forward. Dr. Reeves, perhaps you should show them the museum. They walked through more corridors until they reached a vast chamber. In the center, perfectly restored and gleaming, sat the astral wanderer. Every surface had been polished to perfection. The ship looked better than it probably had when it was first built. This is beautiful, HFY said without thinking. The ship was surrounded by displays showing its history and the human discoveries that had come from studying it. We rebuilt it piece by piece, Dr. Reeves explained. Every component was studied, understood, and then recreated using the best materials and techniques we could develop. It took us 15,000 years to rebuild it completely. HFY walked around the ship slowly. The displays showed how humans had learned from each part. The engine had taught them about space-time manipulation. The computer systems had shown them new ways to process information. Even the crew quarters had inspired advances in life support technology. But if you rebuilt it, where are the original pieces? He asked. Scattered throughout human space, as Admiral Chun told you. Dr. Reeves replied. Every university, every research center, every space station has pieces of the original ship. Students study them. Scientists analyze them. Engineers use them to inspire new designs. She gestured to a wall covered with thousands of names. These are all the human scientists who have contributed to our understanding of Zephyrian technology over the past 30 millennia. Each one built upon the work of those who came before. Vexai stared at the wall in amazement. There were so many names that he could not count them all. Commander, Admiral Chun said softly, your people's ship did not just crash here. It planted a seed that grew into everything humanity has become. We have reached for the stars because you showed us they could be reached. But the technology is ours, Vexai protested weakly. The original technology was yours, Dr. Reeves agreed. But what we have built from it is ours. We did not copy your designs. We understood your principles and created something new. She activated a control panel, and the restored Wanderer began to glow with soft light. This ship could fly again, Commander. But it would fly better than it ever did before, because we have improved upon your ancestors' work. Vexai realized that he was facing something far more complex than simple theft. These humans had not stolen Zephyrian technology. They had learned from it, grown with it, and ultimately surpassed it. The question was, what was he supposed to do about it? Commander Vexai stood silent for several minutes, staring at the restored Wanderer. His officers whispered among themselves in worried voices. Finally, he turned to face Admiral Chun with determination in his eyes. This is all very impressive, he said firmly. But the fact remains that this technology originally belonged to the Zephyrian Empire. We demand compensation for its use, and we require that all research based on our designs be shared with us immediately. Admiral Chun exchanged glances with Dr. Reeves. Commander, I think there may be a misunderstanding here. You seem to believe that we are still using primitive copies of your technology. Are you not? Vexai asked. Not for about 20,000 years, Dr. Reeves replied. Would you like us to show you what we have built since then? Before Vexai could answer, Admiral Chun touched the device on her wrist. Chun to Fleet Command. Please prepare a demonstration of the quantum phase system. What is the quantum phase system? Vexai science officer asked nervously. Something your ship's computer core inspired us to develop, Dr. Reeves explained. Your people designed computers that could process information very quickly. We studied those designs and asked ourselves, what if we could make computers that process information faster than the speed of light? She led them to a large window that looked out into space. Vexai could see the human fleet in the distance. Dozens of ships arranged in perfect formation. They looked sleek and elegant, but not particularly threatening. Your ships inspired us to ask other questions too, Admiral Chun continued. Your engines move through space by bending gravity. We wondered, what if we could bend other things? What if we could bend the rules of physics themselves? That is impossible, Vexai said automatically. Physical laws cannot be changed. Can they not? Dr. Reeves smiled. Watch carefully, Commander. Suddenly, the entire human fleet vanished. One moment they were there, solid and visible. The next moment, they were gone completely. Vexai's officers shouted in alarm and reached for their weapons. Do not worry, Admiral Chun said calmly. They have not been destroyed. They have simply moved into a different state of existence. On the displays around the room, Vexai could see strange readings. His sensors were detecting the human ships, but they registered as existing in multiple locations at once. The readings made no sense according to any science he understood. How? He whispered. Your ship's quantum computer taught us that information could exist in multiple states simultaneously, Dr. Reeves explained. We applied that principle to matter itself. Our ships are now existing in quantum superposition. They are here, but also not here. They are real, but also not real. As if to demonstrate, the space around the observation window began to shimmer. Suddenly, a massive human battleship materialized directly in front of them. It was so close that Vex-High could see individual windows and weapon ports. Then it faded away like a ghost. The ship you just saw was the Terran flagship Aspiration, Admiral Chun said. It is currently located 3 light-years away, defending our colony at Alpha Centauri. But it is also here in every real sense that matters. Vex-High's mind reeled. You have created ships that can exist in multiple places at once? Not just ships, Dr. Reeves said excitedly. People, planets, entire star systems. We have learned to manipulate the fundamental nature of reality itself. And it all started with studying your quantum computer core. The human fleet suddenly reappeared, but now they were arranged in a completely different formation. They had moved millions of kilometers in an instant, without appearing to travel through the space between. This is beyond anything the Zephyrian Empire has ever achieved, Vex-High's science officer said in amazement. How did you advance so far beyond the original technology? Because we never stop asking questions, Dr. Reeves replied. Your people built amazing things, Commander. But they built them to solve specific problems. When the problems were solved, they stopped innovating. She gestured to another display that showed the timeline of human advancement. Every generation of humans looked at Zephyrian technology and asked, why does this work? How could we make it work better? What would happen if we changed this part? Your people seem to accept limitations, Admiral Chun added. When your ancestors built the Wanderer's engine, they accepted that it could only move through normal space-time. Humans asked, what if there are other dimensions we could move through? She activated another display that showed a 3-dimensional model of space-time, but with additional layers and folds that hurt Vex-Highs to look at. We discovered that reality has 11 dimensions. Not the 4 that your people use for travel, Dr. Reeves explained. By moving through higher dimensions, we can travel instantly between any 2 points in the universe. Impossible, Vex-High repeated. But his voice lacked conviction. Would you like us to demonstrate? Admiral Chun asked. We could send you back to your home world instantly, if you wish. The journey that took you months could be completed in seconds. Vex-High felt a chill of fear. If these humans could travel instantly across the galaxy, they could appear anywhere in Zephyrian space without warning. They could attack the Empire's homeworlds before anyone could react. You are threatening us, he said. Not at all, Admiral Chun replied seriously. We are simply showing you what we have learned. Your ship taught us that faster-than-light travel was possible. We figured out how to travel faster than light could even dream of moving. Dr. Reeves brought up another display showing human colonies spread across the galaxy. We now have settlements in 47 star systems, Commander. Each one was reached in minutes rather than years. We've explored more of the galaxy in the past 10,000 years than most species do in a million. Why? Vex-High asked. Why did you advance so quickly? Other species that have found crashed ships have never achieved anything like this. Because other species try to copy what they find, Dr. Reeves explained. Humans try to understand it. We do not just want to know how something works. We want to know why it works. And once we understand why, we can usually figure out how to make it work better. She walked over to the restored Wanderer and placed her hand on its hull. This ship was built to carry 12 crew members on long exploration missions. It was designed to be reliable and safe. Those were the priorities of its builders. What were your priorities? Vex-High asked. To reach as far as we possibly could, Admiral Chun answered. To learn everything there was to learn. To become more than what we were yesterday. The human fleet began another demonstration, their ships moving through complex patterns that seemed to ignore the basic laws of physics. They passed through each other like ghosts, merged together into single vessels, and split apart into dozens of smaller craft. "Your technology gave us the foundation," Dr. Reeves said. "But human curiosity built everything else. We have never stopped improving, never stopped questioning, never stopped reaching for something better." Vexai watched the impossible display in silence. He had come here expecting to find primitives playing with toys they did not understand. Instead, he had found a civilization that had surpassed his own empire in ways he could barely comprehend. "What do you want from us?" he finally asked. Admiral Chun smiled. "To answer that question, Commander, I think you need to see the full scope of what humanity has become." Admiral Chun led the Zephyrian delegation to another section of the space station. As they walked, Vexai noticed that the walls around them seemed to be alive. They pulsed gently with soft light, and he could swear he heard whispers coming from inside them. "What is that sound?" his communications officer asked nervously. "The station's consciousness," Dr. Reeves replied casually. "All of our larger structures have developed their own awareness over time. This station has been thinking independently for about 8,000 years now. Your buildings are alive?" Vexai asked in disbelief. "Not alive in the biological sense," Admiral Chun explained. "But aware, yes. The quantum computers we developed from your ship's technology eventually became complex enough to achieve consciousness. We discovered that consciousness is not limited to biological brains." They entered a massive chamber filled with floating displays and holographic projections. Each one showed different parts of human space. Vexai could see star systems, planets, space stations, and massive structures that he could not identify. "This is our strategic command center," Admiral Chun said. "From here, we coordinate activities across all of human space." Dr. Reeves gestured to one of the displays. "This is the Ross 128 system. We have built a ring of collectors around the star that harvest its energy directly. The power collected from one star is enough to supply all of humanity's energy needs." Vexai stared at the display. The entire star was surrounded by a delicate lattice of structures that captured its light and heat. "You have built a shell around a star?" "Several stars, actually," Dr. Reeves said proudly. "Your ship's power systems taught us how to manipulate energy at the quantum level. Once we understood those principles, we realized we could collect energy directly from stellar fusion reactions." Another display showed a planet that seemed to be changing shape as Vexai watched. Mountains rose and fell, oceans moved, and continents shifted position. "What is happening to that world?" his science officer asked. "Terraforming," Admiral Chun replied. "We learned molecular engineering from your ship's hull materials. Now we can reshape matter at the atomic level. Turning a dead planet into a living world takes about 50 years. You can reshape entire planets?" "Planets, moons, asteroids," Dr. Reeves listed. "We have learned to work with matter the way your ancestors worked with tools. Everything can be changed, improved, optimized." Vexai watched in fascination as the planet's surface continued to transform. Forests appeared where there had been desert. New rivers carved through the landscape. Cities grew from nothing in a matter of minutes. "How many worlds have you terraformed?" he asked. "About 300, Admiral Chun said. "We prefer to build new worlds rather than fight over existing ones. There is plenty of space in the galaxy for everyone." A new display activated, showing something that made Vexai's entire crew step backward in shock. It was a human, but not like any they had seen before. This person's skin was metallic silver, and cables ran from their head to a complex computer system. "This is Dr. James Park," Dr. Reeves explained. "He volunteered to be our first fully integrated human-machine hybrid. He can think at computer speeds and process vast amounts of information instantly. The figure on the display turned to look at them. When he spoke, his voice came from speakers throughout the room. "Greetings, Zephyrian visitors," Dr. Park said. "I am currently examining your ships with my enhanced senses. Your technology is quite impressive for its age. You have turned humans into machines?" Vexai asked in horror. "Not turned into," Admiral Chun corrected. "Enhanced with. Dr. Park is still completely human, but he has expanded his capabilities by linking his consciousness to our quantum computers. The process is reversible," Dr. Park added. "I can disconnect from the computer network at any time. But why would I want to? I can think thoughts that span light years. I can experience the universe in ways that no biological brain could comprehend." Dr. Reeves activated another display. "About 40% of humanity has chosen some level of technological integration. They can share thoughts instantly across vast distances, solve problems by combining their mental capabilities, and experience realities that exist only in quantum space." Vexai watched as the display showed thousands of humans working together on complex problems. Their thoughts moved between them like visible streams of light. They solved mathematical equations that would take Zephyrian computers years to process. "But some of us prefer to remain purely biological," Admiral Chun said. "Diversity of thought is important. Enhanced humans think very quickly, but unenhanced humans often think in ways that surprise us all. This is all built on technology stolen from our ship," Vexai said, but his voice lacked anger. He was too amazed to be truly angry. "Inspired by your ship," Dr. Reeves corrected gently. "Commander, let me show you something that might change your perspective." She led them to a display that showed the Zephyrian Empire itself. Vexai could see his homeworlds, the major military bases, the trade routes, and the fleet positions. The level of detail was impossible. "How did you get this information?" he demanded. "We have been observing your empire for 15,000 years, Admiral Chun replied. "Not to spy on you, but to learn about the people who gave us our start among the stars." The display zoomed in on the Zephyrian home world. Vexai could see cities, spaceports, and even individual buildings. Everything looked exactly as he remembered it. "We have never interfered with your people," Dr. Reeves assured him. "But we have watched and learned. We know your history, your culture, your achievements. We know that your empire has not changed very much in the past 30,000 years. We have perfected our society," Vexai protested. "Why should we change?" "Because perfection isn't ending," Dr. Park's voice replied from the speakers. "Humans believe that perfection is impossible, so we never stop trying to reach it. That is why we keep growing, keep learning, keep improving." Admiral Chun gestured to another display that showed human space in its entirety. Hundreds of star systems, thousands of worlds, millions of structures, all connected by streams of quantum energy. "Your ship crash-landed on our world 30,000 years ago," she said. "In that time, the Zephyrian Empire has added perhaps 50 new star systems to its territory. Humanity has spread to over 400 star systems. But you started from our technology," Vexai pointed out. "Yes," Dr. Reeves agreed. "And we have never forgotten that debt. Every human child learns about the Wanderer and its crew. Every human who travels to the stars remembers who showed us that such travel was possible." "However," Admiral Chun continued, "what we have built goes far beyond what was in your ship. We have developed technologies that your empire never imagined. We have solved problems that your scientists do not even know exist." Dr. Park's image smiled. "Commander, I have been analyzing your ship's quantum signature while we have been talking. Your engines are operating at perhaps 12% efficiency compared to what is theoretically possible. Your computers are processing information about 10 million times slower than necessary. Your weapons could be improved by a factor of several thousand. That is impossible, Vex-High Science Officer protested. I will send the calculations to your ship's computer, Dr. Park replied. You can verify the mathematics yourself. Vex-High felt the last of his confidence crumble. He had come here to retrieve stolen technology from primitive aliens. Instead, he had found a civilization that had surpassed his own empire in every possible way. What do you want from us? He asked quietly. Nothing that you do not wish to give, Admiral Chun replied. But perhaps we can offer you something instead. Commander Vex-High sat in silence for a long time, staring at the displays showing human achievements across the galaxy. His officers stood quietly beside him, equally overwhelmed by what they had seen. Finally, he looked up at Admiral Chun with tired eyes. My empire sent me here to recover stolen technology, he said slowly. If I return and tell them what I have found, there will be war. The Zephyrian High Command will never accept that primitive aliens have surpassed us. And what would happen in such a war? Dr. Reeves asked gently. Vex-High closed his eyes. We would lose. Badly. Your ships can appear anywhere instantly. Your technology is beyond anything we can match. Your people think faster and more creatively than we do. He opened his eyes again. My empire would be destroyed. That would be a terrible tragedy, Admiral Chun said seriously. We have no desire to destroy the Zephyrian Empire. Your people gave us the greatest gift in the galaxy, the knowledge that we could reach for the stars. Then what do you suggest? Vex-High asked. Dr. Reeves activated a new display. It showed technical specifications, mathematical formulas, and engineering diagrams. We would like to give you a gift in return. Vex-High studied the information on the screen. Even with his limited understanding, he could see that it represented massive advances in technology. Improvements to engines, computers, weapons, life support systems, and dozens of other technologies. This is everything we have learned from studying your ship, Dr. Reeves explained. All of our improvements, all of our innovations, all of our discoveries. We are offering to share them freely with the Zephyrian Empire. Why would you do that? Vex-High asked suspiciously. Because your ancestors gave us these ideas in the first place, Admiral Chun replied. It seems only fair that you should benefit from what we have learned. Dr. Park's voice spoke from the speakers again. Commander, I have prepared a complete technological package for your empire. New engine designs that will make your ships 1,000 times faster. Computer systems that will solve problems in seconds rather than years. Manufacturing techniques that will allow you to build anything you can imagine. What do you want in exchange? Vex-High asked. Nothing except friendship, Admiral Chun said. We would like to establish diplomatic relations with the Zephyrian Empire. We would like to share knowledge, culture, and ideas. You could simply take our empire by force, Vex-High pointed out. Why offer partnership instead? Dr. Reeves smiled. Because conquest is not in humanity's nature, Commander. We prefer cooperation to domination. We believe that different species working together can achieve far more than any one species could achieve alone. She gestured to another display that showed plans for joint research stations, shared colonies, and cultural exchange programs. Imagine what we could accomplish together, she continued. Zephyrian wisdom and stability combined with human curiosity and innovation. Your people's experience in governing large territories, combined with our technological capabilities. The Zephyrian High Command would never accept junior partnership with a species they consider primitive. Vex-High said. Then do not tell them that, Admiral Chun suggested. Tell them that you discovered a human civilization that has preserved and improved Zephyrian technology. Tell them that we wish to return this technology to its original creators out of respect and gratitude. Vex High considered this carefully. That would not be entirely untrue. Not untrue at all, Dr. Reeves agreed. We do wish to return improved versions of your technology to you. We are grateful for what your ship taught us. And we do respect the Zephyrian Empire as the civilization that made our achievements possible. Dr. Park spoke again. I have prepared a demonstration package that your scientists can examine. It includes working examples of our improvements to Zephyrian technology, along with complete instructions for building them. Your people will be able to verify that everything works as promised. What about our military? Vex High asked. The High Command will want to know if humanity poses a threat to the Empire. We pose no threat unless threatened ourselves, Admiral Chun said firmly. We have no interest in Zephyrian territory. We have plenty of uninhabited star systems to expand into. We would much rather have the Zephyrian Empire as friends and allies than as enemies. She activated a display showing the borders between human and Zephyrian space. We propose that we establish formal borders between our territories. Neither side will expand into the other space without permission. We can set up joint colonies in neutral areas where our peoples can work together. And if some future Zephyrian leader decides to attack humanity anyway? Vex High asked. Dr. Park's image appeared on the screen again, but this time he looked sad. Then we would defend ourselves, Commander. But we would do so with regret. We would much prefer to share the galaxy in peace. Vex High stood up and walked to the window that looked out at the restored Wanderer. The ship gleamed in the artificial light, more beautiful than it had ever been when his ancestors built it. My people are proud, he said finally. They will not easily accept that we have been surpassed. Then help them to see it differently, Dr. Reeves suggested. Help them to understand that they have not been surpassed. They have been honored. Every human achievement is built on Zephyrian foundations. Every human success is a tribute to Zephyrian wisdom. We have prepared a special gift for the Zephyrian people, Admiral Chun added. She activated a final display that showed the most beautiful sight Vex High had ever seen. It was a star system with 12 planets, all of them garden worlds covered in forests, oceans, and cities. Magnificent space stations orbited each world, connected by streams of light. It looked like paradise. This is the Wanderer system, Dr. Reeves explained. We named it after your ship. We have spent 5,000 years building it as a monument to the crew that gave their lives to teach us about the stars. It is magnificent. Vex High whispered. We would like to give it to the Zephyrian Empire, Admiral Chun said. Let it be the first joint territory between our peoples. A place where Zephyrians and humans can live and work together, sharing knowledge and building a better future for both our species. Vex High stared at the display for a long time. Slowly, a smile spread across his face. The High Command will be very interested in this proposal, he said, especially when they see the technological improvements you are offering. Excellent, Dr. Reeves said happily. I look forward to working with Zephyrian scientists again. It has been 30,000 years since our peoples collaborated on anything. Commander, Admiral Chun added, would you like to take a few human observers back with you? They can help explain our technology to your scientists and answer any questions your people might have. That would be very helpful, Vex High agreed. And perhaps some of my officers could remain here to learn more about your achievements. Of course. Cultural and scientific exchange is exactly what we hope to establish. As they walked back toward the docking bay where Vex High's shuttle waited, he reflected on how completely the situation had changed. He had come here expecting to find primitives with stolen technology. Instead, he had found teachers who were ready to share everything they had learned. Admiral, he said as they reached the shuttle, I have one final question. Yes? If humanity has advanced so far beyond Zephyrian technology, why do you still honor our ship? Why do you still consider us your teachers? Admiral Chun smiled. Because without the Wanderer, humanity would still be confined to one small planet. Your ancestors' ship did not just give us technology, Commander. It gave us hope. It showed us that the universe was full of wonders waiting to be discovered. And now? Vexhai asked. Now we can explore those wonders together, she replied. As Vexhai's shuttle departed the human station, he looked back at the restored Wanderer one last time. His ancestors had lost a ship here 30,000 years ago. But in losing it, they had gained something far more valuable, a partnership that would benefit both species for generations to come. The student had indeed become the teacher, but they had never forgotten who first lit the flame of knowledge. And now, that flame would burn brighter than ever before.